Hey guys, Fronting here with another video, going over some beginner and intermediate warrior movement, starting from the skill tree, what we spec into, why and how we use them. After that, just some cool mechanics such as animation cancels, as well as controlling movement using directional keys and your cursor. And finally, just a movement drill just to get down to grind faster in PvE, to get around faster in general, as well as movement in duels. So I already had a 2018 movement guide. However, some things a little outdated and I felt like I could do it better. So I made a new one. Hopefully this one's a bit more well organized, and I'll also have the timestamps on the right side as well as down below. So let's go over the skill tree. I'll first be going over the awakened portion of the skill tree, and then after that, the pre-awakened side. I'll be going a little more in depth in the skills and combinations in the next section as well. So first is going to be head chase, 2-second cooldown, iframe, so you're invincible during the skill. However, you can still use it when it's on cooldown, but you will not be protected. Generally, try to keep track of this skill. You want to know when you can have an iframe. Iframes are very useful, especially in this meta of everyone having 280 AP. Next, Balanced Strike. A very quick movement. Despite it being unprotected, a lot of warriors use this to reposition simply because how fast it is. You don't want to use it during high risk scenarios or when people are spamming CCs around you. You will be CC'd, you will be on the ground or stunned. Next, Solar Flare. It is technically unprotected. However, if you use it in conjunction with a head chase, it will be an iframe. I'll be going a little more in depth into that later on in the video in the next section. It is by itself unprotected, but in conjunction with head chase, it is a very long and instantaneous iframe attack. Now, because of how quick it is, we generally use it for initiation. Enemies, if they don't expect it, will just see you teleport in their face and get grabbed. Next skill is going to be Slashing of the Dead. It is a super armor and one of our main damage skills. And there's also no collision, so if you use it while you're in front of an enemy, you can actually go behind them and kind of throw them off. Super armor, no collision, 6-second cooldown, and one of our highest damage skills. For the next section, the pre-awakened tree, kick. This is something you should absolutely lock. We do not kick. We never kick. We use, that's right, the next skill, chopping kick, which is back F. Now, we lock regular kick because we don't want to accidentally use kick. Chopping kick is the way to go. Very short cooldown of 5 seconds at level 3, and it is a super armor. We want this to be ultimate because we want to cancel out of the previous skill using chopping kick, which allows us to layer and chain our protection together so that we don't get randomly crowd controlled out of whatever we're moving. And I have absolute chopping kick. This is not a necessity. I just like it because it does a bit of damage, and I sometimes use it when I'm really desperate and I need to get someone on the ground. But for movement, ultimate chopping kick, an absolute must. Next, gonna be shield strike. We lock this. Okay, next, it's gonna be forward slash. Now, there's no cooldown, it uses stamina. However, it is unprotected. We get ultimate forward slash despite that, because it allows us to have a certain sequence of skills in the future. So you can essentially cancel your own block using forward slash repeatedly at a very fast rate, which allows you to move forward very quickly. It is unprotected. We only use this when the enemy is on the ground or when you're grinding, unless you're really pro, but this is kind of like an intermediate guide. So next skill is going to be sideways cut. This is not really something you use for movement. It is unprotected. Of course, you could use it for, I guess, kill combos, but I generally don't recommend using this for movement. And the next is going to be, I'm actually going to go in a pair. It's going to be counter into whirlwind slash. For counter, you can actually see it in the whirlwind slash animation because you can really only use whirlwind slash after counter. By itself, counter is a forward guard, except when it's on cooldown, and whirlwind slash is unprotected. However, if you use chopping kick, almost right after whirlwind slash, you'll go from forward guard to super armor with almost no gap in between, and you'll still maintain the distance from whirlwind slash. Very small gap, but that's a way that we can still remain mostly protected. It's not 100%, but mostly protected to move an enormous distance very quickly. guard, you can move while blocking. Actually very useful. You can only move forward and backward. If you try to move sideways, you'll unblock, so just try to keep that in mind. We're not a Valkyrie. Valkyries can do that, not us. Most people don't expect us to just walk up to them with our guard up, so it can catch people off guard. Ha, pun. So just keep that in mind. Next, bread and butter shield charge. Now, we need ultimate shield charge. This is the #1 priority for movement as warrior. We always use this 3-second cooldown, forward guard, stiff. And it's also an air attack. There are a couple combos out there. The curious counter combo does enormous nuke damage if you want to look at the warrior discard. But anyways, for movement, shield charge, very reliable and very flexible. You can use it for almost anything. You can even change the trajectory of your movement mid-movement. But I'll be going over the mechanics behind that later on in the next section. Next, charging slash, lock it, we never use it. Next, jump thrust. Now, this is unprotected and you can really only use it after chopping kick. I generally don't use it more than once during PvP movement because of its unprotected nature, but it's very useful in PvE. If you use jumping thrust to go down a steep cliff, you will not take fall damage. And finally, it is going to be charging thrust. Now, if you see the skill video, you can see the dude charge. That is forward guard, and that attack animation at the end is unprotected. There's no CC, no damage. You're essentially locking yourself and stunning yourself in that animation. You do not want to hit somebody with charging thrust despite the name. It is almost suicide. You cannot cancel out of the ending animation of charging thrust. Use it to reposition. Use it to run away. Do not hit somebody with it. Double dash, of course. You should get it, to be honest. Let's use it twice essentially. For example, if your horse dies, you can use it to try to get to the stable faster, I guess. So by itself, Solar Flare is not protected. However, if you use Solar Flare and Head Chase at the same time, the iframe of Head Chase will actually carry over with the Solar Flare animation. See, the entire travel distance is an iframe, as you can see here. Only the end is unprotected. You can see it one more time. To do this, you basically, if you look at the keyboard at the bottom left, you just hold shift and then you do W left click real fast. So shift W left click for the extended iframe Solar Flare. Really simple. Now, a different awakening movement mechanic you can use is actually, again, using Slashing of the Dead. So Slashing of the Dead, high damage skill, you move wherever you're pointing or facing. However, if you press Control and click somewhere else during the Slashing of the Dead animation, you can actually change the direction. See, I went down the stairs. So my Slashing of the Dead is 3. I've mentioned why in a previous combo video, but this also helps out with the simplicity of just clicking somewhere else while pressing 3. So if we're going to talk about pure key presses, 3, Control, left click where you want to go. 3, Control, left click. I want to go down the stairs. I click down the stairs using my mouse. Like that. If I want to go backwards, you can actually also go backwards. So this can catch people off guard, especially if they're used to warrior. They might not expect you to like suddenly change direction of your Slashing of the Dead, and maybe you can catch them out with a CC afterwards. So I'm going to be going over some pre-awakened skills. First, charging thrust, and after that, shield charge. So charging thrust is WF, as I'm sure you know. You can use it twice. You should have double dash spect. But you can actually change the direction of your movement, just like you can with Slashing of the Dead. So using Control, which shows your cursor, and then clicking where you want to go. So basically you're going to be holding WF and just hold it throughout the whole time. You're going to click Control and then click where you want to go. You can do some weird stuff like that. You can also just go in a circle if you really want. So it can confuse your opponent. It confuses me, to be honest. It's pretty funky. So that's always an option for more interesting movement. Similar with that Berserker skill where they glow yellow and just kind of run everywhere. We can do something similar to that as well, except we're not super armored. We can also control the direction of shield charge, but we're going to be doing it with the directional keys and our camera. So if I want to go in a circle, I do that. If I want to make a right angle, I do that. You can even circle around people, like so. Just all about the camera control. As you can see by the little black smoke behind my character, you can see where I'm going. So you're essentially just holding W right for shield charge, but this time you're adding in a directional key, A or D, if you want to move in a certain way. Or you can also change your camera angle to make even harder turns. So guys, just like a quick drill, I made something similar, pretty much the same in the last video. It's basically using most of the skills that we have in conjunction with each other just to get used to using them. As you can see, it actually covers a lot of distance. So once you get used to it, you'll be able to use it in PvE pretty effectively just to travel higher distance, and you'll be able to use it in PvP, which just makes you a little more mobile as a warrior. So basically just going to use everything at the same time. Generally, I don't use charging thrusts in the drill because it's pretty straightforward WF. So I like to start with the Awakening Tree first. Solar Flare, Balanced Strike, Quick Swap, Shield Charge, back left, back right, into Chopping Kick and Jumping Thrust. So one more time. Just to practice something, essentially. You'll get the hang of it, and it just takes some getting used to, especially counter Whirlwind Slash. But once you do get the hang of it, you'll be able to move much more freely than people expect you to. So guys, just some closing thoughts. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. I really did try to go as in-depth as possible, especially for our newer warriors out there. I know I had a movement guide out already, but it was a bit poorly organized. I feel like I could do it better. So once again, thank you guys for making it to the end. If you enjoyed it or you have any questions, please just leave a comment below. I'm always super grateful for all the positive feedback I get on my videos. It's really inspiring, makes me happy. Waking up in the morning, I'm always checking the comments. So thank you guys, and see you next time.